Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, yes, another absolutely gorgeous day out hits the morning, first thing in the morning, and it's autumn, so the temperatures have dropped. There's a lot of mist around, and the leaves are starting to change. It's absolutely freaking gorgeous out. So come along with me on my morning walk and let's talk some news. So first up on the docket, we're talking about emulation on iOS with ManicEMU. And ManicEMU aims to be an all-in-one emulator for iOS and just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, the latest update for ManicEMU is version 1.7.1. And with this update, there's a bunch of additions, fixes, and brand new stuff, like upgrading the NDS core with RetroAchievements. Additionally, for the DS, they've added the microphone blowing simulation. They've added touchscreen cursor control for NDS when connected via AirPlay. And they've added top-bottom screen layout configuration for NDS when using AirPlay. ManicEMU is 100% free, it's open source, and if you're interested in learning more about it, like everything we talk about, link will be within the GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. I don't hide my sources. And speaking about emulation and updates that end in 0.7.1, next up we're talking about Nintendo Switch emulation with Citron. And Citron just got a brand new update here to version 0.7.1. Now it is worth noting here, this appears to be an unofficial version of Citron. This was sent in as a news tip, so we're going over it. The GitHub repository is titled Unofficial App Image of Citron with optimized builds for modern CPUs. Unfortunately, I don't know what those optimizations might be. But in terms of the overall stability and performance, I would assume that the main version of Citron would perform the best. However, with this fork of Citron, it does appear they've added in terms of audio, add Rev 13 audio render support. And that was a commit from Zephron on the main Citron project. And speaking about stuff I'm unsure about, next up we're talking about the upcoming Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. Now we've talked about this one in previous videos, most recently when the pricing was unveiled at $1,000. Or $999.99 if you wanted to be specific. And we also talked about the most recent tweet from Xbox where they said that the pre-orders for the ROG Xbox Ally X had sold out. Now in the comments in that video and comments I've seen online and other places is that people are still able to pre-order the Xbox Ally X. So a lot of people are unsure as to the actual state of things right now. And on top of that, and probably to absolutely nobody's surprise, scalpers have already started to pre-order these things and list them at inflated prices. Now, when I say inflated prices, I really mean inflated prices. I mean, I thought the original price of the ROG Xbox Ally X at $1,000 was already too much. Anyways, here, taking a look at the scalper prices, and they seem to be priced over double that. 2.5 times if you wanted to be specific, $2,500. Now to be honest with you, I thought $1,000 was kind of pushing the limit as to what people might want to spend on one of these things. But $2,500, I've got no idea who would want to spend $2,500 on one. I'm just absolutely baffled. I'm also noticing my phone is illuminating my face a little bit. Let me know in the comments below if you'd be willing to pick up an Asus ROG Xbox Ally X for $2,500 just to get it first. And speaking about going all in on Xbox, next up we're talking about Sandisk. And Sandisk has just released a brand new branded micro SD card for the ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X. There's 3 sizes available, 512 gigs, 1 terabyte and 2 terabytes. Now, in my opinion here, I'm not big on branded and themed micro SD cards. I mean, I don't normally see them when they're plugged into the device. And on top of that, I'm usually going for the best one at the cheapest price I can get. Now, with that being said, in terms of micro SD cards, my preferred brand is Sandisk, as I've had the most luck with those and the least amount of issues. Not 0 issues, but the least amount. Other brands like Samsung and PNY and a few others I've had a lot of issues with, Kingston as well. So Sandisk is usually my top choice. And speaking about branded stuff and Xbox branded stuff, next up we're still talking about Xbox. And this one is interesting, and not to put my tinfoil hat on or anything like that. We talked about this one in a previous video where it was rumored that Costco had stopped selling Xboxes. And then we took a look at GameStop or EB Games in Canada, and it turns out you cannot find an Xbox Series X there. Now, mind you, that was just online. So if you know about an EB Games that's selling Xbox Series X consoles in store, let me know in the comments below. But the rumor out there right now is that Xbox may be shifting away from hardware and focusing on software. And in terms of hardware, going the license route like they did with Asus. There is a very interesting article over on gamesindustry.biz. I would recommend checking it out. And again, like everything we talk about, link will be within a GitHub link in the bottom of the description below. Also, check out this view. Anyways, here, the gamesindustry.biz article is titled, "Retailers Were Always Going to Drop Xbox Over Game Pass." It is an opinion piece, though. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see moving forward as to what happens with Xbox, and probably wait for an official announcement, which I would assume would come later rather than sooner. In my opinion here, I would assume that they are getting out of the console market altogether. Could be wrong with that one. That could be a hot take. But after the news of them stopping development on their handheld to focus on software and also focus on the Asus ROG Xbox Ally and Ally X, it's kind of adding up to me. It's painting a very good picture of them just leaving consoles altogether and handhelds, and then just licensing that stuff out and focusing on software. Let me know. But moving on from that, and speaking about stuff from Microsoft, we're talking about Windows emulation on Android with Gamehub. And if you're interested in Gamehub and interested in Gamehub drivers, there's a very interesting post over on Reddit emulation on Android. So this post here is titled, "All Gamehub drivers are available for download." And the text of it reads, "Hi all, founder of GameNative here. While doing research, discovered a way to download all the built drivers that Gamehub uses. Thought I'd share in case anyone would find them useful." And they also say here, you can now directly download the zip and install it in Winlator Bionic. Now, I'm not going to lie here. I'm curious to see if this continues on moving forward and if Gamehub drivers are continued to be made available to be downloaded. Or if Gamehub decides to patch this out or finds a way to patch this out. Now, before we get into the next segment here, we're also interestingly talking about stuff I've seen over on Reddit emulation on Android. I just wanted you to see my viewpoint right now and just share this beauty in with me. I mean, take a look at this. The sun is up a little bit higher now. The morning dew is mostly gone, the morning mist. You can see a couple of ducks way out there on the water there eating away. But this is just absolutely beautiful. And thank you for coming along and enjoying this with me. Now, on top of that view, there were a couple of deer that I was unable to get on camera. They were way too quick. Normally, they're gone before you can even see them. I mean, they hear you well before you can hear or see them. And we've got deer in previous videos, though. But anyways, here, speaking about stuff I saw in Reddit emulation on Android, it appears that a playable Silksong port for Android has been released. Now, based on my understanding, this is an unofficial port of Hollow Knight Silksong for Android, and there appear to be 3 different people or 3 different teams racing to get this out first. One of them is GLE Ports, who charged money for their beta. Spanish Freddy here, who they say is a very fast and very good developer, and is almost done, and a random Chinese team that dropped a port today. Now again, this post is up over on Reddit emulation on Android and seems to be garnering quite a bit of attention. But moving on and trying to get out of the sun a little bit, because I am not dressed at all for the sun, I'll be sweating pretty quick. We're talking about retro achievements. So if you're a fan of Max Payne 2 on PS2, you might be a big fan of this announcement. So they say here you can now play Max Payne 2, The Fall of Max Payne for the PlayStation 2 with achievements over at RetroAchievements. And speaking about announcements, next up we're talking about Palworld. And we just talked about Palworld the other day with their announcement that they're collaborating with Ultrakill. And it seems as if there's another collaboration on the way here, Once Human. So here's the announcement from the Once Human Twitter account. Once Human x Palworld, it's happening. Starting October 30th, pals are officially entering Nalcott. Get ready to secure, nurture, and battle with your new apocalyptic allies. Let me know your thoughts about that one. And speaking about upcoming stuff, next up we're talking about OneXPlayer. And OneXPlayer has announced the upcoming OnexFly Apex gaming handheld. And this features an AMD Ryzen AI Max Plus 395. it's going to be a beast. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a price, I don't have release dates, I don't have anything of that nature just yet. I'm assuming it's going to be pretty darn expensive. And they're saying here it's going to be 120 watts power unleashed with silent liquid cooling. 8-inch native landscape display at 120 Hertz plus VRR support. And speaking about expensive stuff, last up here we're talking about GameSir. And GameSir just announced the GameSir G7 Pro Zenless Zone 0 Edition wireless controller for Xbox, PC, and Android. And this one starts, well, in Canada here at $150. Now, I'm not going to lie, the controller itself looks pretty cool, but looks aren't always everything. Again, not knocking the controller, it's just when controllers are priced at this kind of level, I hold them to very high standards. Taking a look here, I guess if you're a fan of GameSir and Hoyoverse, you'll be a fan of this one. Let me know your thoughts. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and no fluff. Well, there might have been some fluffs flying around in the background. We talked about a bunch today. Feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button. Check out my other videos. Don't tempt fate. Save your state.